Hi, Fidel here. Gonna show you how to make a huge batch of pizza dough with just your hands. Okay, something I observed while being in Italy, roaming around Naples, sticking my head into kitchens. And this is kind of what I saw. Today we're using a Caputo, the red bag. This is called the rinforzato, which means reinforced. In other words, it is a high protein Caputo flour, but it's still a 00. This is most commonly used in the restaurants that I stuck my head into, and Chirosalvo also uses this. So we're gonna give this a try. It just came today, so this is my first time to use it, and we're gonna make a huge batch. In the description box below, you'll see the entire recipe, and I'll probably put something on the screen in front of you in just a moment, explaining exactly what we're using here. We're using fresh yeast, Mediterranean sea salt, and of course the flour and cold water. Let's go ahead and get started. First of all, I'm going to take all the yeast into my right hand, and I'm going to just do my best to swirl around some water and dissolve this in my hand. And it's just feels a little bit like Play-Doh. And I'll just do my best to dissolve it. Doesn't have to be completely perfect because we're going to be mixing everything by hand anyway. In my past videos you've seen me use a big wooden spoon. Today we're just going to use the hands only. Okay, I've separated the flour into two bins here, into two bowls, exactly even amount. So I'm going to put the first half of flour in, just all of it right in. Okay, and I'm going to just mix it with my hands. Right now I'm not exactly doing any kneading. I'm just going to try to moisten the flour. If you start to do any kind of kneading motion, you'll start to develop the gluten a little too soon, which will make it harder to incorporate the rest of the flour. So we'll just gently squeeze in the moisture into as much of the flour as you can. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. A little bit lumpy is fine. But we just want to have a bit of a consistent texture. Okay, that should be good enough. Okay. Next I'm going to add almost all of the other flour. Again, as you've seen in my other video, I save a little flour for a little cleanup at the end. And I incorporate that at the end as well. So I'll leave roughly about a handful. Okay, and I'm also going to add my salt. And just lightly distribute that evenly, somewhat. Okay, and then we'll start to moisten this flour. Go. Starting to come together a little bit here into moistened chunks. And soon we can start to do the kneading. Okay, right about now, you see it looks like this. We're going to go ahead and start to knead it. You're going to scoop up with your hand and push it right into the middle, like that. Scoop up some more with your hand, push it right into the middle. Scoop up with your hand, push in the middle. Just keep repeating this process. So you'll see me start to get a little bit out of breath because the more dough you work with, the more power it's going to require to do the kneading. But you can do it. You don't need any kind of industrial sized mixers. It's good exercise. Helps you burn off the calories you're going to eat anyway, right? So it's it's kind of fun too. Okay, you see it's starting to turn into a proper dough ball. So about now I'm gonna try to loosen the sticky stuff off the walls of this little bin here, or I should say big bin, and try to incorporate all of that too before it dries out. Okay, just continue the process. This is something of an advantage you have doing it by hand and not doing it in an electric mixer, is you can clean the sides of the bowl as you go. Okay, I'm going to try to get some of that off. As the dough starts to come together, some of it will come off your hands just by just doing that kind of motion. So that's not too bad. And more of it will come off later. So continue this motion. Scoop it up. Now I'm scooping up and I'm trying to push it with my fist. If this is boring to you, you can fast forward until this looks a little smoother. But I'm going to leave all of this in the video so you can see there's nothing to be afraid of getting your hands in there. A little bit more. Okay, right about now it's starting to fight with me. So this is about a good time to let it rest for a little while. But first, I'm gonna try to get that dough off the side of the wall while it's still moist. So my hand isn't too bad, considering it was in there from the beginning. So get as much off like that as I can. Some of this flour that I saved, get the rest off. And you can tell that I'm a little out of breath because this is much harder work than just doing maybe a kilo at a time. So, okay. Okay, we're going to give this just about a 5-minute rest. It's not going to need much more. We could leave it for about 8 to 10 minutes, but leave it for 5 minutes and we'll come back. And the next time we start to knead this, we'll start to see it look really smooth. So for now, just leave it like that. Let's see some extra piece of the dough there. Okay. And we'll cover this. And we'll be back in 5 minutes. We're back. It's been 5 minutes. Just uncover it and just continue on with the kneading process. Scoop up some dough with my hand, push it right down the middle. Okay. You can see the texture is beginning to change a little. Again, just get whatever moist dough that's sticking to the wall off and try to incorporate it. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can see my hands aren't too bad. So now the dough is just sticking it to itself. Starting to look a lot smoother too, as you can see. So right about here, I'm gonna go ahead and stop. I'm gonna give it another rest. So I'm not going to continue the video after this. You can see we've gotten to a nice smooth dough. I've incorporated almost all of it in, so I'm just going to kind of sprinkle the sides with the remaining flour here. And just one last check of any moist dough that can make it in there. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave it like this. It's going to rest again for another 6 or 7 minutes. I'm going to knead it, rest, and knead it one more time. And normally we can just let it rest for about 30 minutes or so and then directly into balls and just save it till the next day for baking. Unfortunately, I'm not going to have enough time to do that. So this is going to get a rest of about maybe around 6 hours, and then I'm going to ball it. So that's going to be around 10:30 p.m. tonight. I'll ball it. So it's going to sit in balls from 10:30 tonight until about 3:30 in the afternoon tomorrow, which is, that's 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and a half, roughly 18 hours. So it's going to be about 18 hours in balls. So I'll leave you with that. This is how you make a massive piece of dough with just your hand. Thanks for watching.